Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean. It's my breakdown prediction video for tomorrow night's fight between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. Um, it, it's a very, very tough one to pick. I'd say it's obviously sort of tougher to make a case for Anthony Joshua winning based on the first fight. But having said that, there's still a lot of unknowns going into it. So there's a few things I want to talk about. The first fight, Anthony Joshua wasn't very good. I mean, that's clear. Now, whether that means that was the reason he lost to Ruiz, obviously, remains to be seen. But he didn't look himself in the build up to it, walking to the ring, being in the ring. The way he started, he wasn't very quick on his feet. He had his hand like jabbing from the hip with his chin exposed. Wasn't really sure what he wanted to do in there. It wasn't a good performance from him. So the question is, can he improve enough in this fight to be able to beat Ruiz? In my opinion, to beat Ruiz, he's going to have to fight an exceptional fight, because regardless of how he looked in that fight, I think stylistically it was just a real bad matchup for him. Also, Ruiz, very, very underrated going into it. I think it's quite clear just from watching Ruiz, not in that fight, but in his other, he is extremely good, and he's quite unique in the sense that he can weigh as much as he weighs and still be quite mobile. Not the quickest on his feet, but he's not that slow either. And he's obviously got very quick hands, very fluid his movement, and he seems to have pretty good natural stamina for someone who's as fat. I mean, because it's not even like he's literally fat, which for someone who spends all their time boxing is mad. I mean, it's bizarre really that he can be in that physical shape, having done like all the exercise or doing all the exercise that he does. But he is able to sort of fight with energy, like fast combinations, constant pressure, constant movement, upper body head movement. So that in itself is a real unique challenge. There aren't many people like that. So that's a real fucker really for Joshua having to fight someone like that. Now the stylistic problem is that Joshua, although he is like long and tall, he does like to sort of throw combinations up close. That's what he's good at. The problem is Andy Ruiz is better at it. He's also very good at, like from what we've seen, taking a punch. I mean, he got hit with a lovely little uppercut hook combination, took him down, got up, bang, smacked straight in the mouth with a big right hand, and he, it didn't really budge him. I mean, maybe if Joshua sort of backed off him and tried to pick him off a bit more, we would have seen the effects of it. But not in that moment. He's still ready to, throw a few back. So that is I think everyone would agree that Joshua can't afford to get into trading with him up close. Now, what he needs to do is need to fight raiding tactics if he can pull it off. He's come in a bit lighter. I like the look at it, the shape he's in. He hasn't lost too much, but he's definitely going to be a little bit quicker. Hopefully, a little bit better stamina, be able to sort of hold his guard up a bit more. Because I don't want to see him with his hand down by his hip, jabbing from there. Someone as quick as Ruiz and someone who's just a natural counter puncher, that's you're not really, you're giving him all the opportunities in the world. So what he's going to need to do, he's going to need to come in. He can't afford to let Ruiz just push him back and just hunt him down. I haven't seen Joshua that effective, really. Just sort of, back foot game. He's going to need to sort of do it in spells, but he can't afford, I don't believe, to let Ruiz just basically just stalk him and walk him down, because that's what Ruiz does. That's I've seen quite a few Ruiz fights, and obviously he's been boxing since he was 6. He's obviously solid, like very kind of combust shape. He can take a punch. He's looking to sort of trade with you. That's what he's been doing since he was a kid. So you don't really want to play into that game. I think he's got to try and dissuade Ruiz from coming forward. So he's got to hit him with those hard punches. Because Ruiz did feel them, there's no question. The problem is he got a bit greedy. So he needs to really fight a perfect game plan. He needs to come in, hit him hard, because he did push him back a few times. You see, when he came in and got a bit aggressive, he had some success. That's when he knocked him down. He moved in quickly, bang, bang, boom, put him down. That's what he needs to do, but just without getting greedy. Ruiz, obviously, I mean, it is pretty simple what Ruiz needs to do. I mean, he's not going to outbox him from range. He needs to basically get on top of Andy Joshua and draw him into a firefight, because he's obviously faster combinations, seems to have a better chin. In terms of like who hits harder, I don't know. I imagine they both hit pretty hard. Joshua probably hits like a little bit harder, but Ruiz hits hard enough. And the way he kind of throws those punches over, the overhand right, we got him with the first one was like an overhand right, called looping hook, caught him on top of the head on the temple, and he got him with that a couple of times. That is the punch, obviously, the height that Ruiz is, and the way he's going to be looking for those looping punches, that's going to be the real danger shot for Joshua. Joshua's obviously going to know about that. He would have prepared for it, but still, it's going to be difficult avoiding them for 12 rounds, especially at the speed and the explosiveness that Ruiz can throw them with. Problem for me for Joshua, what he really needs to improve on going forward is his defense. I mean, he's quite good with his feet. He can like step back a little bit and like create a good angle, create a good distance. He's generally good at that. But one thing he's not very good at, when you get up on top of him and start throwing punches, he tends to just kind of, I wouldn't say panic, but he doesn't really react very fluidly. He's not like rolling with them or like slipping too many. He might be, you can slip one. If you're throwing single punches at him, he can slip that, bang, hit you with a straight right hand. He's very good at that. But in terms of someone like Ruiz, throwing combinations at him, he tends to just kind of like cover up and just, try and sort of weather the storm. And obviously someone like Ruiz is getting there, he's coming, he's going to find gaps. So you can't just be there kind of stiff and just, with your sort of with your gloves up and just hope to catch them all on your hand. You got to like parry them, slip, roll with them. And that's what I'm hoping that Joshua has been working on a lot. I think Ruiz obviously knows what he's got to do. He knows the weaknesses of Joshua, and it is pretty clear game plan what he needs to do. I think it's pretty clear game plan what Joshua really needs to do. Now, he potentially can surprise us because everyone's expecting Joshua to sort of box on the back foot, try and like pick Ruiz off, jab, like straight right hand, try and wear him down and either win on points or stop him late. Now, I think that's a good thing to do to some extent, but I think he needs to assert himself as well. I don't think he wants to like just get on a back foot for the whole fight, because Ruiz will trap him. And he will get, caught, in a tear up. And unless he's just drastically improved, like what I just said about him just there, like kind of panicking and trying to, that's not going to be enough to keep Ruiz off him. And if he's trying to like sort of trade with him in there, then Ruiz's quicker hands, also the center of gravity. So in the last one, he kind of ducks down Ruiz because he's used to fighting people taller than him. So he can get very low and it's difficult really to get much on him. And then he'll just loop those hooks over the top. And if he can catch him on top of the head again, well, that's what's going to happen. So yeah, Joshua needs to get quickly in there, do some damage, get him with some uppercuts. Straight hat. The uppercut's a good one because you can keep yourself quite well protected when he does that. Then maybe like catch him with the left hook, like he knocked him down the first time, but just kind of bit by bit try and chip away at him, but not just kind of pity patting back foot. You got to know when to move, but you got to know when to come in and do a bit of damage as well, because he can do damage on Ruiz, no question. He knocked him down before. Ruiz, I imagine we've seen he's got a good chin, he's tough. But he's still a man. Do you know what I mean? He can't take just constant punishment from a 17 stone, 18 stone man. So yeah, that's what I think he needs to do. I saw the public workout. Joshua looked pretty good to it. I quite liked. He looked a bit more fluid than he has done in the past. Not as fluid as Ruiz, but still, he definitely looked a little bit kind of looser, which obviously it's one thing looking loose in training, another thing in the fight when you've got these big punches coming at you. But still, even you used to see Joshua in his like sort of public workouts before, he'd look a bit stiffer, like big shoulders, big like kind of biceps, kind of like that sort of style. This time it looked a bit more, to me, a bit more fluent, moving the head, moving the shoulders. So that's a good sign. Ruiz looked very, very impressive to me in the public work. He looked really fluid, quick hands, great reflexes. I mean, he did look very impressive to me. The weigh-in, now Ruiz come in weighing like 280 pounds, I think, which is heavier than he was last time, quite a bit heavier. Not really sure what to make of that. I mean, if that was anyone else, I'd say that's a terrible idea. I don't know if it's like an idea. I don't know if he's obviously, when he won the titles, he was like sort of partying a bit, maybe took him a bit too long to get. I don't know. Maybe it's a tactic. Maybe they think that, you know, with that weight they can just get on top of Joshua early. They think Joshua's probably not going to have that much stamina anyway, so it's not like I really need to be all out for 12 rounds. I just need to kind of get on him at times and really let my hands go and use that extra size to kind of overpower him, overwhelm him. I'm not sure. It's a difficult one because Ruiz, the last time he came in weighing up, I think it was about 260 something, like late 267. I got a feeling, but it was something like that. And he came in heavy, heavier than you'd expect. Looking at him, for him to be able to, you know, fight with that tenacity, but that kind of intensity for. I mean, the fight only went 7 rounds, but still, he didn't look. There was no signs of him getting tired, and he is someone who's used to carrying around that kind of weight. So it's not like suddenly he's got out of shape and he's like, oh, a bit sluggish. He's been like that his whole life. So I don't know. We'll see. In terms of Joshua, he's come in like about 10 pounds lighter than the last time, which I think is a good sign. I think it's going to do a lot for his stamina. I think that's what they would have been working on. Just a bit less stiff as well, a bit less on the shoulders and chest, and just, you know, a bit more fluid and try and move around a bit more. So I think Joshua's at an ideal weight. In terms of how I think the fight's going to go, now, as I say, it's very, very difficult to predict. Now, I really hope that Joshua wins. For him personally, I'd like to see it. I think he doesn't deserve like a lot of the criticism he's got. I think he's been there, putting in the work for, you know, taking on big fights, really kind of bringing the heavyweight scene like back, and like taking on all comers, willing to fight everyone, unifying titles, just making big moves. And the people now, like, you know, when you get in that position and then you fall, everybody wants to have a go at you. So I'd really like to see on a personal level him just to kind of redeem himself and put on a good performance and really dominate this fight. I also think it'd be much better for boxing. Obviously it'd be much better for British boxing, but just boxing in general. We've seen how the PBC are with Wilder. He's been holding that belt hostage for pretty much as long as he's had it, just messing about with the negotiations, not really trying to unify, not trying to fight anyone from outside the PBC, with the exception of Fury. But obviously there were reasons for that. They didn't really have much choice, and they kind of thought they were getting him at the right time. So I don't see the much intent from them to really try and include everyone and make all the big fights. I just see too much politics. And that's just with Wilder having one belt and not really bringing big numbers, not really bringing much to the table, but them acting as if he was like Floyd Mayweather. So if they get all the belts, then I think it's going to be disastrous for the heavyweight scene. Not that I think Ruiz is like Wilder. I think he's more willing to, you know, we've seen that, the fact that he tried, you know, fought Anthony Joshua, stepped up to actually do it. But I just think with that promotional outfit and that team behind him, it's going to complicate it. So I think it's definitely better for everyone, really. As much as I like Ruiz, and, like, you know, he deserved to win the fight. Fair play to him. I like him. And if he does win, obviously he wins. You know what I mean? Fair play. I can't begrudge him it. But I'm just saying, I think that it will be it'll be bad for boxing if that happens. And I don't know like how easy. I don't really know if they're going to want to make that unification fight anyway if it does happen. Because I don't know. I'll get into that obviously like later on. But yeah. In other words. unfortunately, I kind of give the edge to Ruiz. I just think the style of Ruiz, I think he's a lot better than people thought. And I just think he's got a style that's going to be very, very difficult for Anthony Joshua to overcome. I really hope I'm wrong. And I hope it's a good fight. I hope it's a competitive fight. And as I say, I really hope that Joshua can do it. But he's got to be perfect if he does. If he does beat Ruiz, I just think Ruiz is a natural fighter. He knows exactly his muscle memory. He's going to close the gap on Joshua. I think he's going to come off best in those exchanges. So unless Joshua can just put on a perfect performance, then unfortunately, I think that Ruiz is going to win by TKO. But I'd say I'm not particularly confident in that pick. I'm kind of on the fence. But if I had to pick one, I think that Ruiz, just stylistically, he has the edge, and I think it will happen probably in the. I'd say probably a little bit later than last time because Joshua is going to be more switched on. He's going to be quicker. He's not going to take as many chances. And I think he's going to punish Ruiz a little bit first and make him a bit more reluctant. But I just think, like, as it goes on, I just think that at some point Ruiz is going to be able to hang on in there, and I think he's going to ultimately, beat Joshua with his combinations. Because I don't think Joshua's able to defend well enough against them. So yeah, I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, either way, really looking forward to the fight. Let me know what you lot think. Thank you very much for watching.